Hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Speed Dial. This is episode 8, I actually believe. Can't believe it's already been 8 weeks that we've been doing this, but I'm super excited. I know it's a little different for anyone who's new to this live stream. It is definitely a different format. Um, it's a kind of cross between a podcast and a live stream on YouTube, and so it's definitely something that's fun to do because it's easy. All you do is make a phone call to somebody, and I've really enjoyed being able to call a variety of people. I've had Brennan from Droner on. I had Nurk FPV, the DRL champion from 2018. I've had, Ken Heron on. Had Sean Oz last week, and have done some phone-in calls. And I want to just say hey to everyone who's joined. Looks like a lot of people jumping in right now. Drone Shots was first. Thanks for being in there, Drone Shots. Joe Blaylock. How's it going, Joe? I think Joe and Brad Alston, both you guys were on our thing we did last night. By the way, for the flight crew last night, we did a game of Jackbox, Philip and I, and it was a ton of fun. We had a small group get on and play Jackbox with us, and it was really fun. So one of the things of being in the flight crew, obviously, it was an experiment to see if we could pull it off, but it was a ton of fun playing Jackbox with all you guys. I see Chris Hope out there. I see Cool Vid Jason. I see Zebmeat. Hey, what's up, Zebmeat? I see Brad Hondo. I see, hey, Roosevelt. Good to see you, man. I haven't talked to you in a while. I'm glad to see you in the chat. And I see Ken Heron asking if my camera is broken. Indeed, no, my camera only makes little bouncy lines. That's all it does. And Kai Friedrichsen, I'd like to say hello to. And Kai, I used your tie downs for the Mavic Air 2 props today, and they work great. Honestly, I didn't know that they would be that cool, but for putting them in a small confined case, the tie downs for the Mavic Air, really for any drone, if you're sticking it into a case, a foldable drone, it just avoids the props from going wacky in there. So Tim Jackson, good to see you. Thanks for joining. D&D Aerial Views, nice to see you. Man, what a great crowd we've got coming in today. And of course, Ken Heron in the house. Good to see him. I need to catch up with you, Ken. Lots of news about Spin Up I want to talk to you about, and lots of news that I'm going to actually put out very soon to the entire crowd, so that everyone knows what's going on with Spin Up. Of course, if you don't know about Spin Up is our drone event. This will be year 3 that we've done it, and we are going to be doing it virtually this year for a variety of reasons, but I'm really excited about that, actually. But Ken's actually going to come to Austin and be in the studio with me, which I'm really psyched about that, as will Original Dobo, maybe. I think he was talking about it, and definitely Sean Oz, and maybe a couple of other folks. And then we are also going to do a meetup on September 26th in, I guess it'll be in Dillon, Colorado. And if you want to join that meetup, all you have to do is go to drone. It'll be Spin Down. We're calling it spindown2020.com. If you go to spindown2020.com, you can get all the details about that meetup. We are asking for a small donation to cover the costs because the pavilion we're renting is very beautiful. It's right on a beautiful mountain lake, but it's quite expensive. So just trying to help defer a little bit of that. But enough of my yammering on. I wanted to say hello to say that we've got a really special guest today, someone who I have not actually spent a lot of time talking to. So I'm super excited to be able to talk to him today. It's Russ from 51 Drones. So I'm going to try and add him now into the call. And by the way, there may be a change in format to this thing coming up. So everybody knows this is something I'm working on. This streaming platform is something I've been working on. That is it's a beta software thing, but it is going to have some updates in the next rev, and I might be able to do some other cool things with it. But for now, it's audio only. So, you're not missing much, by the way, by not seeing my face. But let's see if we can get Russ in into the call here. So I just tapped the button to see if I could get him to join. Well, let's try it again. Oh, there it goes. We'll see what Russ is. Oh goodness, I got a call while Russ, you there?
Hello. Yep.
Hey,
Hi.
how's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well. I'm very excited to talk to you, man. I feel like we've crossed paths many times and sent each other lots of support, from miles and miles away, but we've never had a chance to just sit and chat.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I'm gonna step inside the house here. Kind of breaking up a little bit. I don't know what's going on, but let me get in here
Yeah,
so I
so
can
this
hear
is
you a little better.
the miracle of radio over YouTube. We're
Yeah,
sending.
that's right. Hey, I heard you say you're gonna have a special guest on today. Is that coming on after me or?
Oh, you're special in the way that people say "bless his heart." Oh, that Russ,
Yeah.
bless his heart. Like old ladies say that, right? When they're talking
Yeah.
about it. No, man. I feel like you and I are probably pretty similar. I feel like we're probably around the same age. We both have this amazing fascination with drones. We both started just letting our drone freak flag fly a few years ago, and you know,
Yeah. Yeah.
it's been a good thing. When did you start your channel?
2016 is when I actually started the channel, but my first video was posted in my first drone video was posted February of 2017. So it's been
Okay.
just over 3 years. Yep.
And when you started, because I've actually been reflecting on this a lot. I did my first drone video in 2014 under the
Okay.
name Ready Set Drone. It was the SD's Proto X Nano, which is a very tiny little, one of the first little tiny line of sight $30 drones you could buy. I don't know if you ever saw that one, but it was cool.
No. No.
Um, I got a hold of that thing, did a review of it, and then I didn't do really anything else for the rest of that year. And I'm like, man, if I had gone hard in 2014, boy, I
Yeah.
would be big time now.
Yeah. That's right. Yeah. When I and the, like when I look back, when I started my channel, it wasn't the intention wasn't to be where I am today. The intention was to just kind of share my experience and have kind of almost like a diary or a journal of my experience learning how to fly and learning how to, because I have always been interested in photography, videography, and things like that. And having a drone was kind of the next level. Like it was just another, because there was so much out there, so many people out there doing video and photo, and I was completely self-taught with everything, video and photography. I got into it when I lived in Wyoming for a few years,
Okay.
uh, and then I started becoming interested in drones, and the Mavic Pro was announced, and I started doing some research. And after some lengthy thought and research, I finally decided to get one, and then just started recording, what was happening as I was learning how to fly it, and people started subscribing, and I'm like, hey, maybe I'm on something here. Maybe a lot of other people are kind of the same that I was, just trying to get into this for the first time and just learning. So, maybe we can learn together. And so that's kind of how it
Nice.
all got started.
And when you started, you didn't really intend to build. I mean, you've got a channel that's close to 100,000 subscribers at this point, right?
Yeah, I just passed 100,000, so really cool, really,
That's
really
awesome.
surprising. But yeah, it's pretty fun. No, I mean, I had no idea that it would go where it has. So it's pretty cool. And then it really motivates you when you start to see that people are buying in and their people are getting value. And when people get value, it makes you want to continue to do that. And so it's really motivating to see that I can at least help a few people along the way. So
So now, if I can ask, are you married? You have kids and such?
I'm married. I have 3 children, and under the age of 12, I just got done trying to teach my 6-year-old how to catch a t-ball. So that
Nice.
was,
What does your family think about this? Because I really think my family certainly gives me a lot of opinions about it, and I'm curious what your family thinks.
my family's pretty excited about it. At first, it didn't really even occur to them what was going on. And then I started to get more and more subscribers and started to get more popular. And, my kids think it's pretty cool. My 12-year-old, the other two, they think it's pretty cool. But now, when I hit 100,000, I came into my office today, and there's this huge banner that they made. Actually,
Oh,
yesterday it was,
nice.
and it's hanging. They cut out, cardboard or craft paper, 100,000, and they made signs all over. Congrats! And my 12-year-old colored me a silver play button and put it on my wall. And so
Yeah.
I think they're realizing that, hey, my dad's a YouTuber. That's pretty cool. So
Yeah, it
yeah,
seems
yeah,
like this generation, you get a lot of credibility with you
yeah,
know,
that's right. Yeah,
I've heard something that was kind of unusual. I just heard this last week that they're calling the younger generation these days. There's, I guess you're part of Gen X, right? I think you and I both are.
yeah,
Is that okay?
yep.
So there's Gen X, there's Gen Y. I guess there was Gen Z. There's millennials. I don't know what else, but they're calling some of the younger kids now Generation Zoom or Zoom
Zoom.
generation. And if you
Oh, yeah,
think about it, with all the Zoom calls going on right now, or for the last few
yeah,
months, that sort of helps. But um,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, it really is pretty amazing. And then you get to know people. You get to know folks. I mean, there's so many people in the chat right now that I feel like are good friends of not only the drone community but me personally. Like folks that I would love to hang out with and have had the chance to hang out with at Spin Up and in other opportunities. So it's
sure.
amazing how much it can become a part of your life.
Yeah, yeah, it's pretty cool. And for me, it's a little more difficult. I actually don't know. Do you work full time as well, or
Yeah,
is it
I
just
own a
you?
company. I own a video
Oh,
production
okay,
company. So yes,
okay,
I
cool.
work more than full time.
Yeah, so it's challenging, and working a 40 hour, and a lot of us do. I mean, a lot of us uh, people that do this work full time jobs as well, and then have a family as well, and then my wife's going back to school. She's going to be a nurse practitioner,
Nice.
and so we're not. There's no downtime, and so
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you're trying to get a video out and you want to keep that consistency. Sometimes there's some pressure there to kind of, I've never been a big fan of the YouTubers that say, got to keep grinding, keep going. I don't I don't believe in that. I think you got to go at your own pace and you got to do what works for you, because otherwise you're going to get burnt out, and people will notice that. People will see that you're burnt out and they're not going to appreciate it. So it needs to be at a comfortable pace, and you need to provide the information, but it needs to be, not forced. And sometimes I think people who think they have to grind all the time, it's going to seem forced and it's not going to be genuine. So I try to keep it balanced as much as I can. Especially at this stages of my children's lives, you want to make sure that
Yeah. Yeah.
priorities are in order. So
If
yeah,
you can, include them in the process, it certainly makes it
yeah,
easier. Like my son has already shot video for me, so having him go
oh
out with
yeah,
me, and it's like a little side job for him.
sure,
He enjoys it more than paying the lawn or mowing the lawn, and I pay him a little bit to do
yeah,
it.
yeah.
I'm like, hey man, you
Uh-huh.
help me shoot a video. If it makes some money, I'll pay you for it. So it's great.
Oh, that's cool. Maybe
Yeah.
I should start doing that. My 12-year-old, he still isn't really willing to do much. He'll help me shoot thumbnails, but that's about it. He won't help with the other part of the process. So,
Well, have you had
yeah,
him in
but
any of the videos, like to do the reviews or anything?
no, he's not interested in that. I
Huh.
think maybe he's kind of shy, and
Yeah. Yeah.
well, not. I shouldn't say that. He's not shy once you get to know him. But I think just him being on screen. Now, here's the thing. Um, I'm never going to share this with anybody. But we started a Pokemon YouTube channel a few years ago, before I got into my YouTube channel, and it was kind of fun. And he was really into Pokemon, huge Pokemon player and card collector. And so
Like the
we
the mobile one too, where you go around and chase them
no,
Pokemon Go.
well, we did that. Yeah, we did that but that didn't last very long. So
Right.
we actually started just doing unboxings of Pokemon cards, and
Nice.
it was fun and it was a good time spent with him. But what happened is it turned into too much work, and then, well, because we would go out and we'd buy Pokemon boxes, and then I wouldn't let him open them until we could film it.
Right. He was
just
like,
get,
I would open it now.
yeah, he'd get so frustrated, and then just the process of filming it became not enjoyable anymore. So we just decided to quit it.
Yeah,
So
yeah. No, you have to enjoy it. And it's funny because, I've advised a lot of people on doing YouTube, and a couple of things I've always said is it has to be something you really feel like you could do for the long term. And
sure,
and
yeah,
fortunately for me, aviation, drones, radio control, all those things really kind of none of those I feel like will ever get old for me. Like I went out and flew today, and I had such a good time. My wife and kids are out of town, and so I had the house to myself. Had the whole day to go fly, and I was like just by myself flying, doing some different tests and shooting some video,
yeah.
and it was a great day. I mean, I really enjoy it, and I've been doing it since 2014, and just haven't managed to get tired of it yet.
hmm hmm And what I found is, and I'm the same. I think you're. Um, I would say that I'm not quite as passionate like that as you are, because you're definitely the godfather of the drones right now in the community.
Well, I
And so
appreciate that.
everything is drones.
Godfather, like in the way that I could have someone opt if I wanted to. Like
Yeah, exactly,
if Chris Hope just or Steve Carpenter just ticks me off one too many times,
exactly. Yeah.
Chris,
Um,
Steve, I'm coming for you.
what I kind of look at it where what I've kind of gotten more into now is the process of making the videos. Like the drone has become kind of the tool to make my YouTube videos, and so just that background with me of making videos for so long, and now I finally found something that is my favorite part of making videos, of the process of creating something. And so, I don't think I'll ever get to the point where, I love watching, the big YouTubers like, McKinnon and Peter Lindgren and Daniel Schiffer and all those guys.
Yeah,
I love those watching those sequences and those stories that they tell. And I don't think I'll ever get to that point, but that definitely inspires me. And I want to use my drones to make that process happen. Like I always, whenever I'm doing something like that, I always want to make the drone part of the process, and the biggest part of it. And so, I've really gotten into trying to explore different ways to get to as close as I can to creating content like those guys. But, um, and so I think, where you're flying, God, I don't know how many drones do you think you've flown over the years?
I'd say it's probably over 100. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's it's a lot. If you count all the toys. Um,
Yeah. See, I've flown eight. I've flown eight drones. That's it. And,
wow, you don't really
so
do the
because,
toys.
no, not really. I mean, I've flown a couple of little toys, but I really do want to try FPV. I think once I start,
Oh,
that might be dangerous because I won't go back. But I think it looks so fun, and I've never done it before. I never had a pair of goggles on in my life. So,
well, we can talk about that. First of all, Doc Murdoch, who is in the chat right now, is an amazing FPV pilot and builds drones and all that. So he'd be a good person to hit up if you need advice. But I will say,
sure.
there's a question from Shane with ReRV the Johnstons. Shane wants to know when you started your YouTube channel.
2016, December of 2016 is when I started it. Yeah.
And what was your first video about?
Well, actually, it was a little before that. My first video was actually how to build a Pinewood Derby car,
Oh,
and
nice.
my son did help with that one. I helped him build his Pinewood Derby car. That was actually the third one that we had done, and we just recorded everything, recorded the process, and I think it had like 77,000 views. It was doing really well, and um, and Ken Herron talked about it one night on his live show. He asked, what was your first video, and he showed it, and the very next day, I got a copyright strike from one of the song artists on the music that I had used.
Oh,
And
what,
so,
what song was it? Do you remember?
somebody, oh gosh, I don't know. I don't even know where I got the song. It was probably on, I think it was SoundCloud or something like that. But it was
Oh,
just
so it wasn't like
a
a pop song. This was a song you were
no,
using just as a background.
yeah, this is just a no-name small creator, and I think somebody must have been listening to or something. But it was such a big coincidence that all of a sudden the next day, after Ken Heron talked about it, I got a copyright strike. So I demonetized it, and I actually privatized it because I was so mad that person decided to copyright strike me. So it's still on the channel, but it's private. And
Well, I think
so
now
that
you
was
can
my.
go in. I think now you can go in and actually just mute the music, like just mute that
Yeah,
part of
you
the
can take the
video. And
music out. I guess I could do that. Yeah, definitely. But
so I
the
have a question though,
music
Russ.
adds to it.
You said you helped your son with the Pinewood Derby car. Now,
Yep.
how much did you help? Because I can remember when I was a Cub Scout, um, my dad was very involved, but he made me build my own Pinewood Derby car. Like he helped to the degree that he taught me about graphite, putting graphite on the
Oh yeah.
wheels.
Yeah.
That was the big
Yeah.
thing. But other than that, I built it myself. And then several people showed up with these amazing Pinewood Derby
Amazing
cars.
cars.
And I
Oh
was
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
dude, you didn't build that. Your dad built that. So
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
you one of
That's
those
how it goes.
dads?
Well, the first year I did everything. He did the sanding and the graphiting.
Okay.
The second year he did some cutting. Actually, we used a box cutter, and he did some of the cuts. He did all the sanding,
Nice.
and then the fine tuning stuff I did, of course. And then the third year he did probably 50%, and I did 50%. He did all the painting and everything. So, and then he quit. So that was kind of disappointing. But the cool thing about our pack was we also had a parents category. So I built my own car as well, and I grew up. I mean, I was an Eagle Scout, so I am an Eagle Scout. So I built cars, so I kind of knew what I was doing. But so I built my own car. And what I did is I took my car from when I was younger, and I kind of revamped it a little bit. And
nice.
So I redistributed the weight and painted it up a little bit, put new wheels, new axles on it, and I was slower than my stock, than the one I made when I was a kid. So I thought I was going to improve it, and here it got worse. It was slower, so I didn't win anything there. But
so I've seen some videos about Pinewood Derby cars. Isn't there a specific place, like if you put the weight further forward, it does better? Is that right, or further back? I don't remember.
It's pretty good. It's quite a balance. Mark Rober has an amazing video on it, and I followed to a T what Mark Rober told us to do, and we still didn't do very well. So we did. He did win. He did win Scout's Choice and one year, and then he won Best Overall Design one year. So we know how to paint a car. We just don't know how to build them.
So now you live in Minnesota, right?
I live in North Dakota.
Or North Dakota. I'm sorry. You know, us Southerners get the North a little mixed up. But I've seen you out on a 4-wheeler. Are you kind of out in a space where you can fly pretty easily?
Yeah, I wouldn't say easily. I live on the edge of town, kind of in this, like, if you would say, if there's suburbs in a town of 50,000. But yeah, I live on the edge of town, so I do have some space. And typically, I'll drive out of town to fly because there is a private airport. Just a guy that has a crop duster that lives, I suppose about 3 or 4 miles away, and so it is geo-locked here, and it always gives me trouble. So,
yeah.
But I can fly. I can unlock it, but sometimes it just doesn't work. So, but yeah, I live out of town, so I have some space. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's not a very densely populated state generally, right? I mean, if you go out a little ways, you can get out into areas with lots of space, and that's always a challenge for me is finding a good place to go fly. I see Felix from Quadcopter Guide in the chat, which is awesome. Felix and I got to hang out over in Germany last year, and man, I'm so glad we went to Germany last year. We had such a good time, and Felix was such a good host. He took us around and showed us some really awesome places to fly over the Tegernsee. I was going to just tell Felix I watched that video just recently. But, you really do have to be so careful with where you fly just to do a couple things. A, to be safe, right? That's the primary thing. but also B, just to
Right.
make sure that you're not really putting yourself in a position where I'm not a guy that enjoys conflict. I mean, some
Yeah.
people, I think,
Yeah.
I
Me
think
neither.
some people like it. I saw the video where you had the interaction with the police officer, and that
Yeah.
ended up being really good. And I'm glad you posted it because I felt like you kind of showed people how they could interact with a police officer when they're
Yep.
flying. But ultimately, it is more and more challenging to find good places to fly. And so for me, I'll take a special trip out of town just to go fly somewhere that I feel like is, first of all, a beautiful place to fly, but second of all, is a safe place to fly, and is not
Right.
gonna get on anybody's nerves. So anyway, a
Yeah.
little bit of a tangent. So you said you've only flown
No.
six drones or 8 drones? How many did you say?
Yeah, eight. I think 8 drones, and most of them are DJI. so,
What's your favorite?
so, my favorite probably Mavic Air 2. I
Really?
not because, yeah, it is. I mean, the Mavic 2 Pro definitely low light, bigger sensor. I really didn't realize that until last night and this morning. I was trying to get some sunset, sunrise stuff, and you can't do it with the Mavic Air 2. You can't. And so I'm really hoping. I don't know if they have. They probably do have. Freewell probably has some gradient filters, but you're going to need gradient filters on the Mavic Air 2 to get a nice sunset sunrise. I have seen some, but the Mavic 2 Pro can do it like that. Like the dynamic range is a little bit better, and low light is so much better on the Mavic 2 Pro. But
Right.
overall, I just love how the Mavic Air 2 flies. I love how it controls and how it reacts and how it feels when I fly it. I love how it sounds. I mean, it's like
Super
I don't
quiet. Yeah, it's
super
not
quiet,
annoying.
smooth.
The original Mavic Air was such a piercing kind of. I mean, I loved my
Yeah,
original Mavic Air, but I remember just every time I put it up in the air, it sounded so whiny
yeah,
and noisy, and it was
yeah,
at a
yeah.
pitch, at
So
a
sharp.
frequency. Yeah, it was a sharp frequency. So Mavic Air 2. So that's actually what I was flying today. I was flying that and the Mavic Mini down at my kids' old school, and I was doing a bunch of hyperlapses. And it was a nice
Oh yeah,
day for it because we had some clouds, and it's this real pretty country road that I go off of, so I can get some of the cars going by as well as the clouds going by and such. And yeah, I did some stuff with APAS today that I had no idea that APAS had improved that much. Have you really played with APAS? I mean,
I have. Yep. Last
it
night I
is
was
pretty amazing.
flying around the trees in the backyard, and yeah, it's nearly as good as the Skydio. I mean, there's only a couple times where it actually got stuck and it couldn't get around the branches, but yeah,
I,
really
I
cool. And
I would
it's not
say
very cinematic, but it definitely does a good job of avoiding things.
Joe Blaylock says he loves the sound of the original Mavic Air, and I will say
Ugh.
if you're trying to announce to the world that you're flying a drone, then definitely the
Yeah,
original Mavic Air.
yeah,
But I was going to say, Russ, here's my take, because I have a Skydio, and I haven't done any videos on it, but I've done a lot of flying with it. As far as I've used it on a skateboard, I've used it on walking, I've used it on a bike. Just trying to see what it does with tracking. I believe if you're going faster, the Skydio actually is way better. The Mavic Air 2 lost me when I got going faster. Like it
yeah,
did fine if I was walking or going slow.
yeah,
It could
yeah,
navigate through stuff, but it didn't think as quickly as the Skydio does. Now the Skydio has a
yeah,
lot of other issues, but as far as just like if you're trying to follow a skateboard or or bike, then I feel like the Skydio is going to do a better job personally.
right, yeah, yep. And I did tracking with my four wheeler on the Mavic Air 2, and 31 to 32 is where it loses me. It can keep up at 31 miles per hour, and then it
Did you
drops
put
off,
it
which I
in?
think is
Did you put it in
pretty
sport
good.
mode? Will it
No,
track in sport mode?
I didn't try sport mode, so I need to do that. But I thought 31 was pretty good. So
No, it's not bad at all. And you're talking about just on an open road, or were you going through stuff like under trees and stuff like that?
no, it was just down a little trail. There was a couple trees in the way, but it didn't affect it. It just kept. It was just straight line. So
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
my experience with it has been, I guess I had low expectations for APAS compared to the Skydio, and it really is very good. I walked through this clump of trees where there were little tiny branches in every direction, and it negotiated its way through perfectly, which was pretty awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Hanson McDonald is asking, what's your opinion on the best drone for the price? Do you have a I guess, Hanson, the question is, what do you want to do with the drone, right? Are you looking to do photography, or are you looking to do, I mean, quite honestly, for me, the Syma X5c is the best drone for the price. It's $30 and it's a ton of fun, but you're not going
Oh
to shoot
wow.
video with it. Um,
Right.
any
Yeah.
any thoughts on
No.
that? Best drone for the price?
Well, for the price overall, I'd say Mavic Air 2, but a lot of people are $800 is still a lot of money for a lot of people. So,
Yeah.
um, the Mavic Mini does a great job, I think, with the recent updates and the ability to change the camera settings. Definitely makes it a much better camera drone than it was when it was first released. But yeah, you're talking about a $30 drone, which is a fun drone for that price. My gosh! But if you want to get some high quality video, then definitely got to get up to something like the Mavic Mini. So yeah.
Well, the Syma X5c is the toy drone I always recommend. It's a line of sight drone, and it's really good to learn because it does not have it doesn't have, hey, I see Mr. Georgia Boy in there. It doesn't have the GPS, right? So it is
Okay.
it is a line of sight drone that you can become a better pilot with. Now, Joe Blaylock is saying that he used the original Mavic Air to herd his sheep. And if you haven't seen Joe Blaylock's channel, you really should go check it out, because he lives in a beautiful spot. He's got sheep that live in these beautiful forests, and he uses a
Huh.
drone with them all the time, and they don't seem to really mind. But maybe the Mavic Air was the one that would get him around. Um, and then I see that Hanson, the original person, asked about the cinematic shots or the best drone for the money. I
Uh-huh.
would agree, Hanson. Either the Mavic Air 2, if you can swing the price. If not, the Mavic Mini is actually great for that, and you can buy the Fly More combo for less than the uh, you can buy the Fly More combo, I believe, for less than the Mavic Air 2 without extra batteries. So,
Oh yeah. Yep. Yep.
and then Doc Murdoch is saying you can set the Syma X5c with FPV camera for $30. Yep, you absolutely can, and it rips in that way. I've velcroed a little camera to it before. So you said you were thinking about doing some FPV, Russ. What are you thinking? Are you thinking about a tiny whoop or something for outdoors, or you don't know yet?
I have no idea where I would start. I have no clue where to start. So, well, here's the thing. I have, of course, and you probably do too, I have some DJI credit, and I really like the look of the DJI FPV setup, and then
Yes.
so I would want to get that because I wouldn't have to spend any money. I already have the credit, and then whatever I could put that on and use that with would be what I would go with. But like I said, I have no idea where to start. I've been watching Original Dobo and his journey, go through his journey, and also Drone Supremacy. He's really turned into FPV, and so I asked Mike from Drone Supremacy. He gave me a couple of ideas on what would be good first drones, but it's something I need to take some time and put some research into. It just got so much right now. It's kind of down my list, but I think it's definitely going to rise up to the top here pretty soon. So
Well, one thing, it's kind of, if you go DJI with the DJI system, then you're going with the digital system, and the quality is a whole lot better.
sure.
You are a little bit more limited in the types of drones you can actually. Well, in order to fly with the DJI system, you really need a bigger drone. You can't fly tiny whoops with it. So
Sure. Yeah.
here's what I would suggest: getting an all-in-one kit. Emax makes several. The Tiny Hawk series. Also, I've been flying a lot of newbie drones. Newbie drone. They
Oh
have
yeah.
one
Yep.
called the B Brain. They have an all-in-one kit that is definitely a good start. It has the goggles. it has the drone, and it has the remote control, and it's already bound. Now, the thing, you need to start to learn about doing beta flight and some of the ways to set up the drone and change the settings and stuff like that. But one of those kits would be an easy way to get started, and definitely less frustrating, I think, than trying to start with something that is too complicated. Now, the thing is, if you start with the DJI system, you're never going to want to go back to analog. I mean, it is so much better. And the problem with that is, again, there's no tiny whoops that do digital yet. So if you want to get into flying tiny whoops, which I would recommend, they're a ton of fun flying around the house. Those are pretty much all analog. So I don't know. Emax is a sponsor of Spin Up this year, which I'm really excited about. And Newbie Drones has been a great, it's been giving me stuff to test. So any of those tiny whoop companies are really good. And as I said, there's a lot of people here in the chat, Doc Murdoch especially, who know FPV really well. So, you, I believe, have agreed to do a presentation for Spin Up this year.
Yeah.
If you haven't, I just committed you to it.
Yeah, you sure did, didn't you?
Yeah. So I know you've never been down for Spin Up down to Austin before. What have you heard about it? What's your impression? I don't know if you've seen any videos or heard people talking about it, but what's the impression of someone who's never been?
I think it's a great thing because it brings people together. Like you can watch videos all day long, but being able to interact with the people and learn from each other is definitely a great concept, And the traveling thing is the hard part for me. We have so much going on all the time that it's hard to get away. So I'm kind of excited that it's going to be just online this year because I can participate and not feel like I'm missing out. So I'm looking forward to it.
No, I really appreciate it. And one of the things I've tried to do, because I've had some great speakers at Spin Up, I've tried not to be repetitive, and have the same speakers year after year. So like everybody who spoke at Spin Up year one, none of those folks spoke at year two. It was all whole new set of speakers. So there will be a lot of new speakers year three. Of course, it will be virtual. We're going to live stream it on September 12th. If you don't already know about it, then definitely on September 12th, bookmark that, mark your calendar. Be sure to tune in on YouTube. If you want more information, you can go to spinup2020.com. And then also, just for everyone who may or may not know, we are doing an IRL or in real life get together in Colorado on September 26th, which is going to be actually kind of September 25th and 26th. We're going to have a barbecue. We've rented this pavilion that overlooks Lake Dillon. And I was reading on their website, Lake Dillon is one of the highest altitude deep water lakes in the U.S. So it's a deep water lake. It's at 9,000 feet or something like that. And this pavilion overlooks it. You can see the mountains off in the distance. If you want to come to it, I hope you can. There's information about it at spindown2020.com. And if you go to Spinup 2020, you can also get to Spin Down. So anyway, hoping that people can make it out there because it should be a pretty fun thing. We're going to actually do a live stream from, I see Doc Murdoch saying that he's wanting to participate in Spin Up, but also Spin Down. We're going to do a live stream from Sean Oz's tattoo parlor. So he's going to be giving away lots of free tattoos. He hates it when I say that, actually. He's not really, but so everyone can get their 51 drones tattoo that night.
Yeah, that's right.
And hey, I want to say a quick hello to Rick Halber, who is in the chat right now. Rick has I know had a few health issues lately, so I'm really glad to see him here in the chat. As I've said before, Rick is a great friend to everyone in this chat and everyone in the drone community. So it's awesome to see you there, Rick. But here's my big question that I've been wanting to ask all night, Russ. How'd you name your channel? What's the name mean?
Well, you're going to have to watch my live stream coming up here in the next week or so. I'll talk about it there.
Oh, okay.
It's the number one question I get asked over the past 3 years, and so I'm going to talk about that. Here's a little promotion. I hope I'm allowed to do that. But
yeah, go for it.
Yeah. I'm just going to do a 100,000 subscriber celebration live stream. Haven't decided on a day yet, but but yeah, I'm just gonna do some giveaways. I have some sponsors for that. I have some, including
Nice.
DJI as one of them. DJI has offered a little package, so
Nice.
and we'll just talk about my process of having a YouTube channel, and we'll talk about how I came up with the name. What else? Oh, I'll reveal my new logo. I got a new logo coming out, so that'll be exciting. And yeah,
little bird told me about that one.
Yeah, right. I got some merchandise finally. People ask for merchandise all the time. I used to sell just my hats, and I used to do that myself. Well, it's getting to be too much. I can't be shipping hats every day, so I'm going with the Teespring stuff, and so I'm excited for that. Got a website I'm starting because I really want to start pushing some real estate stuff here in my community. So the guy that has been doing real estate in our community is moving, I guess, as I understand, and so those realtors are going to need somebody to do it. So I'll be doing that some evening, probably in the next week, if not for sure before the 4th of July. So yeah.
Awesome. Well, Roosevelt with Fly Natural said, "Isn't it obvious he has 51 drones?"
Nope.
So yeah, you said earlier he's only flown a few drones, so that's way. I thought it was like an age thing, maybe. I don't know.
Nope, not there yet.
Okay, all right. Well, yeah. I mean, we'll all want to tune in to the live stream to learn more about it. So, what are some things for people? There are a few people that I know are in the chat who have been listening, who are fans of your channel, who want to know things that you are excited about with regard to drones coming up. For the rest of 2020, do you have any predictions about new drones coming out? Or I know you also were really big on the remote ID. You made a really good explanation video of that. What do you see? Where do you see this community going, and how can everyone who's watching right now help steer it in the right direction?
Oh my gosh! Well, I would say to help steer it in the right direction, just try to fly safely. I mean, so many people, it's so easy to not. And but I just think we haven't seen anything mind blowing from anybody. I mean, DJI just gives us these little improvements here and there, and when you see the reviews, especially the early reviews, from some of the bigger YouTubers, they're all like, "Well, this is the most amazing drone ever." Yeah, not really. I mean, it's a little bit better than what we've seen, but it's never just something just totally like mind blowing. And so I just want to see somebody come out with a drone that we're like, wow. I mean, flight time is amazing. If you could get up to 40 minutes of flight time, and you're getting, Autel's doing a good job, but they just keep having so many little problems from what I've seen, But the Evo 2 really looks cool, and
have you flown one?
I'm excited. Yeah. Have I got one?
The Evo 2, yeah.
No. I don't think I'll get one.
Okay.
But what I want to see is, I just want to see a company, and preferably a non-DJI company, come out with something that would compete, that would actually just like really compete. People talk about Autel competing, but I don't think it does yet. I think DJI just has such a hold on the market, and DJI gets a lot of negative press from all the privacy things and the government banning them and things like that. I really think they're getting a bad rap, and people will argue against me. People say, "Oh, they are spying on us," and you can have that opinion. That's great. My opinion is that they aren't. I mean, if people want to spy on us, they can spy on us with their phones. Our phones are way more.
Well,
security.
I mean, think about your TV too. All these smart TVs, right? That have
everything
connected to the internet and all these. Yeah, I mean, I kind of agree with you, and people would be very disappointed if they spied on me, because I lead a pretty boring life.
Yeah, there's not much to see. I know exactly. What do you got to hide? So. But anyway, I'd like to see something that just, just blows us away, that we couldn't even think of. But
is that even possible, really? I mean, if you think about it, like the Skydio 2 having spent some time flying it and seeing the way that it just whips around and does follow you in such an amazing way,
Yeah.
it's a shame that the other parts of it aren't better, as far as
Right.
the Wi-Fi versus kind of an OcuSync competitor. But I mean,
Hmm.
I unfortunately, it's just like cell phones. I don't think there's going to be this revolutionary thing. When the original Phantom came out, that was the first one that everybody just went,
Yeah.
holy moly, this is, because
Yeah.
I'd seen some home built drones before that, and it's just like when the iPhone came out in 2007, right? It was kind of
Yeah.
like nobody had ever seen something like that. I guess there
Right.
may be a point where drones, maybe they don't need propellers anymore. Maybe they're driven by those. You ever seen those Dyson fans that don't have
Yeah. Right.
blades?
Yeah. Yeah. That'd be cool.
Maybe there's a drone driven by something like that at some point. But ultimately,
Silent
I
drone. Yeah. That'd be
I
cool.
think it's going to be incremental. I think it's just going to be a incremental kind of thing. Hey, and Metro Drones just sent a super chat. Thank you, Bill. Much appreciated. Man, I love the fact that there is a core group of people that hop on this live stream every week, and I really appreciate that. And I will say that there has been a big kind of uptick in the views on these things. I noticed, I don't know if you guys watched like with Nurk last week or with Sean or some of the live where I've taken calls, but I've had a pretty good. Some of these have gone over 10,000 views. So Russ, maybe you'll
Oh,
be
cool.
the next big one. But um,
Hope so.
so as far as your thoughts, kind of closing out on what people should look for in a drone, because I do get asked a lot, what's the best drone? You mentioned that you really like the Mavic Air 2. Why do you like that drone? Why do you feel like it's a good value?
Well, I like when people ask me that, what's the best drone? The first question I ask, what's the best drone for you? I mean, it's such a personal thing, and you would know this better than I because you've flown so many different drones, and you would have a better idea and a better response for someone that asks such a general question. I mean, it's like saying what's the best phone? I mean, it's you can't really say, but in my opinion, in all the drones that I have flown since I started, the Mavic Air 2 provides so much for the money that you pay. Like I paid $500 less for my Mavic Air 2 than I paid for my Mavic Pro 3 years ago. And
Right, right.
I got the Fly More combo, but I mean $500 less, and look at what you're getting. 4K 60, and you're getting 48 megapixel sort of photos, and you're getting a much longer flight time. It's quieter, it's smoother, it's just better connection. I mean, for $500 less, and so that's why I like it so much. That the technology is improving at such a fast rate, and they're able to do it at such an affordable price that, I mean, for someone looking to get into it, if we would have had, if the Mavic Pro would have been Fly More combo at that price, 3 years ago, my gosh, look where we'd be now. So that's why I think for the money that you're going to spend, the Mavic Air 2 is the way to go. Now, if you're looking to become a professional, then definitely you need to look at something a little bit better, like the Phantom 4 Pro or V2 or the even the Mavic 2 Pro gets you there. But I think for the general population, for the majority of people that want to do the same kinds of things that we're doing, and maybe do a little bit of real estate work or a little bit of 3D mapping or something like that,
Yeah, the
keeping
flight
with the
time
Mavic
the
series
flight
is
time
quite
on the
cool.
Mavic Air 2 makes those things so easy. Now here's an interesting thing is I I'm not a huge fan of DJI Pilot of the or which one is it DJI
The
Pilot, or is
Fly,
that the DJI Fly? Sorry, Pilot is for the Mavic 2 Enterprise. Um,
right?
so DJI Fly, it's it I guess you're used to one thing, right? So I'm used to DJI Go 4,
Uh-huh.
but I think it'll be interesting when the Mavic Air 2 can work with the smart controller, right? Because
Uh-huh.
then the
Yep. Yep.
software becomes less of an issue. It's one.
Yeah.
I would assume it would be, you wouldn't have to download anything onto the smart controller. Maybe you do. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't
Every time they come out with a firmware release, I'm like, is it time? Is it time? Because today
know.
I had both my Mavic Mini and my Mavic Air 2 in the air at the same time. Well, guess what? I only have one phone, so I was flying one of them. I was flying the Mavic Mini, just just line of sight without the app hooked up to it, and it was fine. It
Hmm.
just kind of
Hmm.
hangs out in one place. I was just basically circling one drone around the other. Um,
Sure.
but have you flown with the smart controller yet?
No, I haven't.
Oh,
And
man,
no, I haven't. I mean, everyone says it's so awesome, but
it is.
like, here's where I'm going. I I am so tired. I've been Android ever since I've owned a phone, and I've recently been flying with my iPad Pro. I finally spent the money, got an iPad Pro, and I love it so much, and I love flying with it because it's so stable. I have had no issues at all. And when I fly with my phone, I have so many occurrences where something crashes or something, skips, or like the connection is just off or whatever. And when I fly with the iPad Pro, I'm like, it's perfect. And then when I start doing other things with my iPad, everything's so efficient. Like today, I was playing with my Insta 360 1R, and I was trying to edit the footage on my phone. I have a Google Pixel, and it kept losing connection. So what I did is I connected it to my iPad Pro. Boom. I mean, just instantly,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
could edit. I could edit instantly. So definitely more horsepower, of course, in the iPad
yep.
Pro. But it just makes me think that everything works so much better with iOS. And I'm really considering switching to an iPhone. And I wish that the smart controller was iOS rather than Android, because I just think all of DJI drones work better with
Well,
iOS. And
let me
so,
give you some information, or at least my opinion on that. And that is, I bought my first iPhone was iPhone 1 in 2007, and Android just confuses me. Whenever I try to use an Android device, it confuses me. However, for the smart controller, it doesn't really matter, because the smart controller is purpose built to fly that drone. I've used the smart controller probably 100 times or more, and through 100 batteries or more, and I have not had any problems with any crashing in the smart controller at all. It's
oh
purpose
yeah,
built, right? So I agree. I think part of the problem isn't Android. I think part of the problem is that I think that DJI is supporting iPhones better than the supporting Android phones, right? um,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think it's the software, right? They're putting more money into the iPhones, whether you agree with that or not. That's what I think they're doing. And so, if you own an Android phone and you're trying to fly with that, you're going to have those issues. If you own an iPhone, you'll have fewer issues. But I will tell you, with the smart controller, as long as you keep the firmware updated and you do all the updates whenever you have to, it's very, 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 very reliable. Now, Doc Murdoch is
Yeah.
saying, uh, don't get an iPhone X. It has issues with the display going dark as it gets warm. So actually, I do have an iPhone X, iPhone 10, and I have had the problem of where it's gotten very overheated, and actually
Oh,
shut down on me because it was overheating. But that's not
oh,
when I was
really?
flying a drone. Well, it's not when I was flying a drone. That was when I was using it. Actually, I was using it on my bike. I had it in a little case on my bike. I was using it to like track miles and do GPS and stuff. And the case had a rain cover on it. But yes, the iPhone 10 will
Oh,
overheat. So, but I'm not.
wow.
You're not going to have that problem where you live. I mean, that's a Texas thing, I think,
You
too.
know, right? Exactly. Yeah. I don't know. It was 92 here the other day, so it did get pretty warm. So,
Hey, I see
yeah,
Lloyd, the grumpy vlogger, in the house too, and Agent K in the house,
yeah.
and Mike B, the drone ranger. Good
Mike,
to see
Drone
you.
Ranger. Yep.
Yeah,
Cool.
man, we got Tim Jackson in the house. Awesome crowd here today. Um, yeah, I mean, so I guess what I'm saying though, Russ, is if you're if you're really in love with your Mavic Air 2, and you fly a Mavic Pro or Mavic 2 Pro, the smart controller really makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and one thing that really appeals to me is the nit level, how bright it is, and so
It's very
that's one
bright.
thing I've always had trouble with, is seeing if you're flying in the sunlight. So that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's. I'm a big fan of it. Now, I do hope that they support it. I'll tell you. Is there anything that DJI does that really ticks you off? Because I have one thing that they do. Well, I have two things actually they do that really tick me off, and I'll share them. But I'd love to hear yours first. If there
Well,
is
let's see
anything.
if someone puts it in the chat, because I know most people know what it is, and I already talked about it, and it drives me insane. And let's see, nobody.
Yeah, let's see who in the chat says what does DJI do that is just no bueno. I think the first one.
I think Agent would get it. Agent will get it, I think.
Okay.
What's yours?
Agent K?
What's yours?
Well,
Yeah.
there's two, and the first one is the one that I think that I think won't be as much of a thing. But the fact that you can't ever reuse batteries, I do wish they would stick with a common battery platform for a period of time.
Yeah.
Was that yours?
Yeah.
That wasn't yours.
No. That would be cool though. Yeah. No, mine is geofencing. I mean.
Oh yeah.
Ridiculous, because that it doesn't work together with Lance. So I can get Lance approval to go fly in a zone where I can fly up to 100 feet or even 200 feet, and it'll tell me, yes, you're approved. But I go to fly and I can't because it's geofenced. And so, yeah, I don't get it. I think they should work together. So
Joe Blaylock says firmware updates, which, you know what? Here's the thing I've learned, Joe. I agree with you, but you basically, if you're planning to fly the night before, do all your updates. You just gotta turn the drone on in the backyard. I don't even take off. I just set it on my picnic table back there, turn it on, let it say, oh, there's a firmware update or incompatible firmware, inconsistent firmware with your batteries. I do all that stuff the night before while I'm connected to Wi-Fi, and then I charge my batteries and fly the next day. And then, that's just one of those things that you kind of have to do. And then Agent K says that old airport that doesn't exist.
Yeah, right? Exactly. Yeah, just that. Well, yeah. Okay, and then that related to the batteries too, like the incremental charging. I wish they all charged together. When I first started that, I don't know what was the name of that. Energen, the name of that company, the charger company. They kind of just pooped out. They went away after they
would made some that would charge all at the same time.
All at the same time and very quickly. And I don't know whatever happened. They ran that campaign. They ran a Kickstarter for their 360 charger, and after that it just fell apart. I mean, they weren't delivering. They weren't responding to the people emailing that had contributed, and so they wrecked themselves, because I thought that was a pretty good product. But yeah, where they have to, charge in one at a time. I wish they all charged at the same time. So.
Yeah, well, okay, so batteries, number one. My second one is, I don't know if you've noticed this, but any drone where you can remove the sticks, where the sticks will twist off so that you can put the remote away, they're not the same. They have all these different sizes.
Oh, yeah, right. Styles. Yes, yeah. You can't switch them out.
I mean, that is just, to me, it seems like they should pick one style and size and just do that, so that if you do lose your stick, you can. Oh man, that just drives me batty. I don't know what's up with that.
About proprietary. I mean, proprietary to each individual product. That's crazy.
Well, what's funny? Actually, I should do a video about this. Russ, we can have a race to see who does this first. I should take all the DJI drones where you can unscrew the sticks and see which ones fit on which, because some actually cross connect, but not all of them do. And it's like, why don't all of these just cross connect? It's batty, but anyway. Well, hey, I really appreciate you.
Real world problems, right?
Yeah, exactly. Oh my goodness, my sticks don't cross connect. No. Hey, we've got such an awesome community, and I'm so happy to get to talk to you and to get to see all these folks in the chat here today. Again, Spin Up is on September 12th, and it is absolutely free to watch on YouTube. However, we will be doing a lot of giveaways, and if you want to win a giveaway, you've got to buy a ticket, and the tickets are really cheap compared to what the giveaways are. As a matter of fact, you can ask Irvin, who's in the chat right now. He just won a Mavic Mini off of my channel. And so, and I'm also giving away a Mavic Air. I'm actually giving away my Mavic Air, the one I've flown with, I think 4 or 5 batteries on my next First Friday. So The point being
Oh,
that if you want to win, buy a ticket for, I think it's $15 right now. It goes up in July, so buy it before July at spinup2020.com. Russ will be one of our speakers. It's going to be a ton of fun. Russ, any closing words for these fine folks? Definitely, hey, whenever you're ready to do your live stream for your 100,000, I will definitely be on in the chat. So I'm excited about that.
yeah, cool. Yeah, no, just a great big thank you to everyone. Like you said, it is a great community. It's a lot of great people, and I love that there isn't, like, people don't argue. We all get along, and everyone feeds off of each other. And so I think that's one of the greatest things about this little niche that we have. And I'm just
Absolutely
very proud to be a part of it, and very, very happy to be just one small part of it. So
I will say when people do argue or when people do go a little south, they get corrected very quickly and seem to always fall in place. So
yeah,
I won't name any names, but I think, you know, we are all here to try and make this a sport, a hobby, a pastime, a profession that we can do for years to come. And, you know, as long as we are able to fly by the rules and not do anything that is going to cause the public to say, wow, drone flyers are terrible, then I think we're doing the right thing.
sure. Yep. Absolutely.
Awesome. Well, again, a shout out to everyone out there who joined in today. Grumpy Vlogger, Chris Hope, Rick Halber, Steve Carpenter, Joe Blaylock, Tim Jackson. You guys are all awesome. Geeksvana was in there earlier. Really appreciate you guys joining. Doc Murdoch, good to see you as well. Russ, thank you for joining. And thanks to everyone who hopped in today. If you are looking for another live stream, I would highly recommend you go over to ArtCode Drone Solutions. I think he's starting right now. He starts around this time. So I try to keep it to an hour so don't step on his toes. And I'll be jumping over there for a minute. And again, Russ, thanks, man. I'm looking forward to the time when you and I can fly together.
Yep. Well, thanks a lot, Kelly, for having me on. Really, really had fun. Thanks.
All right. Take care.
All right.
Bye-bye. All right, everybody else who's out there, you guys are awesome. I really appreciate you joining in. This little thing has been quite an experiment with doing these live streams via this software. I think next week there may be some updates to the software that allow us to add some things to it that I don't know for sure, but if it is the case, tune in next week. I don't even know who the guest is going to be yet, but once I know, I will let you guys know. And thanks again. Fly safe and take care.